everybody. Um, Welcome to the April version of the Libraries Connecting Texas webinar. We have 10 people registered, and I see 10 people here. So I'm thinking we've got everybody that is planning on being here. So let's get started. I'm going to talk a little bit about the summary of LCT funding, then Jennifer's going to talk about PIA and the FCDL review. Patty's going to talk about the Form 498. Those of you who filed bears are probably familiar with the 498, but we want everybody to kind of understand what's going on with the new invoicing. And Kennedy's going to talk about the next things that are going to be going on. So just a little bit of the application status. 108 applications were filed for LCT libraries. The average bandwidth 781, and the cost was $225 per megabit. That is an increased average bandwidth and a decrease in cost per megabit from last year. I am working on a comprehensive report that's going to include that and a bunch of other things. You know, the original LCT project had some target bandwidth. Those libraries who were serving populations of 50,000 or more people had a target bandwidth of a gig, which is 1,000 megabits per second. And those of the libraries that were serving a population of under 50,000, the target bandwidth was 100 megabits per second. One of the interesting things is during the span of the Libraries Connecting Texas project, some libraries, Corsicana is one of them, I think there's another one, that actually went from one of the below 50,000 to the above 50,000. So it's going to be interesting to see when we compare all of those numbers together, what everything is going to look like. So this project's been going on since 2018, so we have a lot of interesting numbers. So about $1 million in Libraries Connecting Texas pre-discount funding was requested, and 111 funding requests are wave ready, which means you know, there are only a handful of libraries who are still probably not going to be funded after the first wave. We're expecting that first wave to be coming up pretty quickly. So now I'll move on to Jennifer Williams with PIA. Well, just before we move on, does anybody have any questions or anything? Just feel free to raise your hand, or you know, there are only 4 of you here. So if you want to unmute and speak, you can ask any questions that you want during this presentation. Jennifer, take it away.
Thank you, Caroline. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the PIA and your funding letters. Most of the applicants probably already received PIA because you are wave ready. If you do receive the ones that are under review, please reach out to us and we can help you prepare the correct answer in response to the PIA review. Applications do go through this process, so you're not singled out. It's something that the program does to make sure things are filed properly. If you don't receive one, it's not, you know, something that you have to take action on. It's just that they reviewed it and they have no questions. And you will receive these inquiries via email. Sorry, go ahead. So after the PIA review process is done, then you become wave ready. And like Caroline said, we do expect funding letters to go out shortly, maybe even today. I'm not sure because it is the end of April. But congratulations, once you get that, that means you got funded. You do want to review your funding letter to make sure that the dollar amount you requested is accurate. The service provider, you know, your bandwidth and stuff, you want to make sure that it is what we filed for. If there is any discrepancy, reach out to us immediately so we can assist you in identifying any issues, potential appeals that we may need to file on your behalf. And now I will, let Patty take over.
Thank you, Jennifer. This next section is for libraries who are paying your E-rate.
Patty,
This form.
I think did everybody hear what she just said? Because you kind of went.
Oh, sorry about
quiet
that.
for a second.
Okay.
Maybe start over.
Yes. For filing the Form 498, that is notified.
You went quiet again.
Okay. I'm not sure what's going on with my headset, but the Form 498 shares your banking information with USAC, and it also alerts USAC on who to notify once a deposit has been dispersed to the library. So this form is filed one time, and unless you have any changes in your banking information or updates in the contact person, you won't need to update or file the Form 498 again. To file this form, you will need your applicant information, which includes your library name and address, and also your taxpayer ID number. In addition, you'll provide who the financial contact is for the library, and also your banking information, such as your routing and account number. If you have any other billed entities associated with the same banking account information, then in that case, you would just file all under one Form 498. USAC is now issuing the unique entity ID, or excuse me, they're now using the unique entity ID from SAM.gov. So just keep this in mind if you will be creating or revising a Form 498 on or after May 12th of this year. So on the next slide, excuse me. So like I already mentioned here, for any new form or revisions on the 498 after May 12th of next month, you would need to use the unique entity identifier. But if you're already registered with SAM.gov, then in that case, you already have the unique entity identifier. So next slide. For more information on this, we've included some links here. There's a link to USAC supplemental entity information. And this is a place that you would go to see the status of your Form 498. It'll tell you if it's either certified or approved. If it shows certified, then that just means that USAC is needing more information for the form. Or once it's approved, then you can proceed with filing a bear for reimbursement. We've also included USAC's FCC Form 498 user guide. And this is USAC's in-depth information on the form, describes all the acronyms and where to find the requested information. There's also a SAM.gov link in this webinar that will show you where to find your unique entity ID if needed. So now's the time to prepare for your reimbursement if you've paid in full for your E-rate invoices. Just a reminder, if you are receiving discounted invoices under the SPI method of billing, then you will not need to file the Form 498. That would be for bear filers only. But if you've got any questions, what method of invoicing you're under, whether it's Bear or SPY, feel free to reach out to a member here on the LCT and we'd be glad to help you. So now I'll hand it over to Kennedy and she'll go over some next steps.
All right, so we got a few reminders for you guys. First on the invoicing, so we're kind of looking at two separate invoicing years right now. So for the fund year 2022 invoicing, which would have been July of last year to June 30th of this year, if you chose the SPY method, you need to check your invoices and make sure that the discounts are being applied each month, that you're only paying your discounted portion of the bill. And if you need help with that, we are glad to help. If you did choose the Bear method, then that means it's time for you to, like Patty said, gather your invoices and start preparing that request for reimbursement. We can help you with a template spreadsheet if you need that, and we're glad to review those prior to their certification if you need them reviewed. And then for fund year 2023, which will be July 1 of this year to June of next year, this is the applications that we just filed. There are a few reminders there as well. If you're switching your service provider or you're upgrading your bandwidth, then you want to make sure that you schedule your cutoff and turn up dates appropriately. So if you're switching service providers, you want to make sure that your previous service provider cuts off on June 30th and your new one turns on July 1st or on June 30th, so that whenever that switch happens, you're not going to miss out on any funding, because USAC's only going to pay for the bills that occur within that funding period. Additionally, if you are getting ready to start a new, you're starting with a new provider or upgrading bandwidth or anything like that, you want to decide if you want Bear SPY invoicing. So once you've chosen your invoicing mode, then you can discuss that with your service provider. And typically, if you choose SPY invoicing, they're going to have a form for you to complete so that they can start applying those discounts to your invoice. If you choose Bear, then of course you'll just pay in full each month, and then at the end of the year, we'll help you get that Bear filed. And then a few other reminders here. The Emergency Connectivity Fund deadline to order devices. So this is for ECF Windows 1 and 2. So if you were funded for devices or services or anything in those two windows, then your deadline to order is June 30th of this year. And then your invoicing deadline for those two ECF windows is August 29th of 2023. So once you get them ordered and paid for, you can submit for reimbursement for the invoicing on those. Additionally, we would like to remind you to subscribe to the E-Rate Central channel on YouTube. We do have a link to it on the next page. We just upload, not only do we upload our recordings of these webinars, but we also upload just helpful tutorials, helpful, we'll walk through some of the forms for you and help you understand better how to file those. And then we also want you to keep an eye on your email for the LCT newsletters that we send out each Monday. There are a lot of important information about deadlines, forms that are coming up, things you need to be prepared for, and just additional information regarding the E-Rate program. So keep an eye on those, make sure you look at those, read them. We provide registration for our webinar there. So that's just really good information that you want to make sure you're taking advantage of each week. You're good to go to the next one. Sorry.
Thank you. Thanks, Kennedy. Thanks, everybody. So that is the end of our webinar. We've got about 10 more minutes left, but I don't think we have anything else, any more announcements. Does anybody have any questions or anything that maybe this webinar sparked that you want to ask about. Um, just giving y'all an extra opportunity to ask questions or get further clarification on something. I want to remind all of you to watch your email. You may be getting emails about reviews on your applications. We're expecting the first wave for 2023 to be funded really soon. Once that happens, we're going to be reminding everyone to file the Form 486. The Form 486 is the next form. It's the form that lets USAC know that your services are starting July 1st. And it also certifies that you are compliant with the Children's Internet Protection Act. So do make sure that that you are that you file your Form 486. The YouTube link is in our slides, but I will also let's see. I will see if I can share it in the chat. Someone else may need to do that because I'm running the slides and it's not. So if y'all have no other questions, we will let y'all have your rest of your day. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you soon. Bye.